Good morning, Mr. Dirk, and everyone else. 3 people already. Yeah, it's now become the weeknights are more popular than weekends. You guys turn it into a bunch of Mitches, not having any free time on the weekends. Okay, let's pick up where we left off. Do a short recap. Haven't been able to paint for a few days. Real life crap. So this is the Heffalump so far. And it's not going to look very good on here because of the lighting and resolution or whatever, but it's pretty much done. I may need to do something on the inside, but that's pretty much where it needs to be. Got the riders we've been working on. Got the guy that sits in the tower that we need to angle down so that he's shooting straight ahead. And then we have the other Hun that's going to be up there. He's done. Now we're going to do the 2 guys on the ground. And these are going to be a couple of Falcon figures, Falcon miniatures. And actually, this got like a notch taken out of his helmet. Let's do the ones that are easier to have less cleanup. And these 2 guys will be on the ground. Once that's together, we'll spray all this stuff and then start putting the parts together. So now I can say that this should be done by the end of this coming weekend. 3-day weekend. I don't have much time during the week to do much stuff. I got a video that we shot on Monday that's been percolating. Finally got through editing it. And it's pretty sorry, honestly. It's got a lot of background noise. We had to run both air conditionings, so his air conditionings just suck. And we're in a place that has no insulation, and you're trying to fight out 95-degree heat. And anyways, it's loud. It's got a lot of background noise, so it's not my best work, but it's either that or don't watch the video. Luckily, we only had 4 players, so we did have 5 games in, and it's already uploaded to YouTube. YouTube's doing whatever the hell it is they do. Processing it or whatever. I suspect that it will not be fully processed this evening. I don't post it until it's processed in HD. You don't want to see it in 720. It's stupid. So, still no smell. They definitely changed something about this pad, or these pennies are miracle workers, or both. Okay. So we've got these 2 guys that are wearing basically like an overcoat. So we're going to do one of them kind of in a dark brown, and we're going to make another one kind of like in an ugly yellow color. Let's do the yellow one first. Let's do the yellow one first. We got Dirk and 2 lurkers. What color is this? Khaki now. We don't want to use khaki. That's too civilized a color. Middlestone. Middlestone should be a pretty color. Middlestone used to be, back when I used to use polyester paints, Middlestone was the color that was the base coat of the British in the desert in North Africa from 40 to 42. It was called Middlestone. And the name of a color doesn't mean anything to me. Come on, fan. Okay. And this color is just, it's ugly. It's not creamy enough. What is it that's causing the tips of these to stick together? I think last time when I was able to work, we're going to have things falling down. No, we do have the fan on high. So today was the anniversary, the 6-year anniversary of Fanatica shutting down. That's a great thing about Facebook. It told me that. The old Fanatica site shutting down. And honestly, I don't remember how it used to be to post pictures on it, but it's not a pain in the ass like the one is now. I don't even post pictures anymore. You got to go through a hosting service. I was doing that for a little while, and then what was happening is a hosting service is now wanting to charge you money, and I'm like, I'm not gonna pay for that. It's bad enough. I got an email today that my the editor that I use for my videos, that I've been using probably for 5 years now, it's a yearly charge, and it used to be like $40 a year, $29.99 or $39.99, something like that. It's been pretty consistent. I just got an email that starting on September 1, well, hopefully they don't charge me today. My renewal doesn't come up until November. But the new price will go up from either $29 or $39.99 to $119. That is more than inflation. But the alternative is, go find another editor that I may not like. I mean, the whole reason I settled on this one is because I liked it. So I'm probably going to end up paying it. And they said, because we've added a lot of stuff. I mean, they have added a lot of things. They've added a lot of things I don't need. I could use those things, but I don't want to spend a whole week editing a video. So, it's highway robbery. Well, no, you know what's highway robbery? When somebody charges you for something and it doesn't work. At least their program works. I've used other ones that are free. I mean, I used this one that was free, so I was like, okay, this is exactly how it should work. It's not perfect, but it's pretty perfect. Good evening, Nordic. It's good so far. Yesterday was kind of a frustrating day. Had to go deal with the state of Florida, which, is any state. I would rather be unemployed than work for a government. After what I saw at that tag office, I had to do something for work. And I don't really want to get into it because I don't like talking about work. But let's just say that we had paid for something for many weeks, and we needed to put it on our vehicles or our entire fleet was going to be shut down and couldn't drive. And it was tags, and it had been weeks. We even had proof of them cashing the check and everything, and they hadn't mailed the tags yet. And finally, when I called them on it, they're like, "Oh, well, you'll get them tomorrow." Well, that's not good enough, so I had to drive all the way to Tallahassee and get them myself. But at least I got them back. But that office was like a cross between a homeless shelter, a Social Security office, and a daycare. No wonder they hadn't mailed stuff to us yet. So, yeah, I'd rather go unemployed than work for the government. I wouldn't be able to deal with that nonsense. How's the Heffalump? I guess if you think the cost is fair. Well, the alternatives are more expensive. I don't have the time to sit there and relearn something else. I mean, I need to. This thing that's going to get me from doing video, quit doing videos the fastest, is make it a pain in the ass to edit videos. I'll quit in a heartbeat, and that doesn't benefit anybody anything. Just like this video that we filmed on Monday, it's it's almost Friday, and that's not really a problem with the editor. I needed to go through the whole thing to make sure everything was okay. But there is a lot of background noise. But again, the alternative is, okay, what do you want to do? Okay, we can't film if there's too many people. We can't film if it's too hot because we have to run the air conditionings. We can't, well, then you just might as well just kiss all the videos goodbye. So, that's a long drive. 2 hours one way is better than being at work. Luckily, it happened on the right day, and I had somebody to kind of cover for me. So, but every time I have any dealings with the government, my opinion of the government gets even worse. And I didn't know it could get much lower, but there it is. It doesn't matter who's in charge. It's irrelevant. Because the people that change hands, the people at the top may change hands, but the people in the middle, they don't change those folks. So, just gross incompetence. And the same people that take your money and don't give you the stuff that you need are the same people that are like, well, what if we just run them? Then they're the same people that fine you, and you can't win. So it all got resolved. I think we're going to do something different next year and not deal with Tallahassee because they're obviously overwhelmed. Last year, there's this $4 decal we need to have on our vehicles, our commercial vehicles. That it costs $4 per unit, and you need to have one on there. And you can't order it until October 1. So you order it, and it's supposed to be on by January 1 of the following year. We didn't get them until the end of February. And there was a grace period on that for I think until March or something like that. But they just take their sweet time, and there's no sense of urgency. You've been reading through the rather extensive rules for Great Battles in the American Civil War, hoping to get to play one of the small scenarios for Shiloh over the weekend. Is Shiloh a small battle? It's a good way to dodge work. Well, I didn't really dodge it. I still did stuff. I didn't feel bad about it because I'm one of the people that didn't get sick. Lots of folks got sick, whether it was COVID related or something like that. So, if I had not done that, the entire fleet would have been shut down. So I had to do that. They wouldn't release it to anybody else. Well, they would release it to the owner. So I listened to, I got a new book on Audible, which is excellent so far. It's called The Great Game, and it's about, Russia and Britain and Afghanistan in the late 1800s. And it's really interesting so far. Good narrator, and so far so good. And the day flew by. Shiloh is a large battle, but there are smaller scenarios in the battle. I'm going to use smaller ones, training battles to build up to the major battle. Good luck. I got my World War II rules out. I keep thinking of going in there. I got to finish this project before I go into anything else. Working at the moment. So I may appear and disappear. Well, I can't tell that it's you. I mean, I can tell it is when you type something, but I have no way of knowing who's online if you guys are all like in ambush, going ninja. If you go in ninja mode. In case you were wondering. Battle of Shiloh had a little over 100,000 soldiers and almost 25,000 casualties. Wow. Wilson! Welcome. I'll take movies I'll never watch a second time for 1,000, please. Which reminds me, that's another company I couldn't work for. FedEx. Because if it's true that they send everything to Memphis and then send it back out, I couldn't work there. As I work in a logistics related thing, that would blow my mind. I don't even like taking a flight. I took a flight one time that went from here to Fort Lauderdale, which is that way, to get on another plane to go to Houston, Texas, which is that way. And I'm like, no, I need to be drugged or something like that. Yo, what up, my hound? Extensive 34 pages in the main rule book. There's 41 pages to the rules. Then there's a scenario book which has some special rules. Somebody suggested the other day, and I forget who it is. It was one of the guys on Saturday. They told me that the Wings of War game, or whatever the hell it's called, Wings of Glory, I knew it was coming out on the computer, and it was already out. I think it was on Sunday morning. So I already got it and played all the scenarios and unlocked everything. I'm like, okay, I'm waiting for more stuff to come down. It was relatively challenging, actually. You know, I'm familiar with the game, so. I already played all the way through that, so. You get Pickett's Charge, which seems decent. Maybe a couple minutes, and you get dinner out of the oven. Andrew, are you into the Civil War stuff a lot? And if you are, may I ask, why does it interest you? Is it because I'm not going to answer for you? Why do you find that period interesting? Or why do you find that war interesting? You know, not that you shouldn't, I'm just wondering, you know. It has never interested me. And I think the reason it's never interested me is not really interested in the period, and my ancestors weren't here yet. So I don't have a tie-in where it's like, oh, well, my people, you know, my family fought for this side, or they fought for the other side, or they fought for both sides, and you know, my great granddaddy, you know, so and so was in this regiment. I could see if you have that you would have that tie-in. I don't have that tie-in at all. So I'm just wondering, people that are interested in the American Civil War, if that's the reason why. But I really like World War II, and I don't know anybody. Nobody in my family was in World War II. My people were stuck on a little island that was just a sideshow. Not even a sideshow. There was no combat there. It's a crossing point for Napoleonic tactics with near modern weapons. Okay, so you like Napoleonic tactics. Yeah, I never got into it. Well, I haven't, wargaming wise, I only played World War I and World War II stuff until 2004. And then 2004, I pretty much only do this stuff. The ancients and medieval. I still have my World War II stuff. Didn't get rid of any of it. But I always think it's funny that they have all these rule sets for people just getting into World War II. And I don't mean, young kids or whatever, because, of course they're going to be getting into stuff. But, adults. And I'm like, man, I was into World War II since about 1981, 82. That's what really got me into, military history. And, yeah, I'm just wondering what the tie-in for the Civil War, because I've never felt any of it at all. I mean, I would rather play Napoleonics than American Civil War easily. I'm already American, so it's like, there's no chance of role play or, do funny accents. Certainly if you play Confederates, you can do lots of funny accents, and I can do many of them because, I work with these people. But how do you have fun playing Yankees? I don't know. Asking about vast of the theater and overall strategy used by the North. You can watch for a while. Okay, cool. Well, Greg, you found out today was the 6th anniversary of Fanaticus, the original Fanaticus, shutting down. So, what do you think? How's it been? How's the transition been? I don't think it's any. I think a couple of things have changed significantly, and I don't mean just the the demographics of who's playing it or what have you, who the movers and shakers are. It's more of Facebook is so much more of an easy platform to post what's happened than any bulletin board has ever been, and I don't remember how we used to post pictures on the Fanaticus forum, but it wasn't as difficult as it is now. Now you got to go to some hosting service, and the hosting services want you to pay for. It's just a pain in the ass. Just like just here's the link. It's on my Facebook page. If you don't want to use Facebook, well, I guess you'll miss out on the pictures. I mean, it's like I said, anything that's one thing that'll burn out a producer like me more than anything else is having to jump through flaming hoops for people that just are like, well, I don't want to use this, or I don't want to use Facebook. Okay, I get not wanting to use Facebook because of arguments. Just don't get in any. I mean, I certainly don't agree with everything I see, but create a fake account or whatever. I know you're not supposed to do that, but how do they know your name's not Harvey Squirrelbottom or whatever it is, And I've always used my real name on posts and everything, so it's not. And the first thing, and I think the reason for that is it's it clears up a lot of confusion if people know who you are, and you don't have to cogitate about what your perfect handle is going to be. What if you want to be the Widowmaker or something like that? And a year in after using the Widowmaker, you're like, I don't really like the sound of that. Kind of, I want to be the whoever, and it's just too difficult to try to kind of make up your mind what you're going to be stuck with forever and ever on the fly, New version is dynamic, and I agree Facebook is much easier to post images. Yeah, it's a pain. And there's just a lot of people that just won't go on the bulletin board. I don't know anybody that I game with that goes on it regularly. No one. So oh well. It produced some of the best generals in U.S. history. Back in the 90s, I was part of Battle Group Boston. We played a lot of Johnny Reb, ACW. That was the first game I started, miniatures-wise, was playing Johnny Reb, and I didn't like it. It did 15 millimeter Stone Mountain figures, and I just didn't. It just didn't do anything for me. It was like I was playing a game that I wasn't really interested in the history of it. Hold on, folks. I'll be right back. Used Essex mostly. I don't know that Essex was around back then. Or maybe it was. I didn't know about it. Where am I on the Huns? Painting these 2 foot guys and then we can put them all together. First time I ever heard about Essex was on the back of the Armati rules. Got all their armies listed. You can get them from War Games and what was it called? Tridelphia, West Virginia. And I ordered some of them. That's where I learned to hate Essex Army packs. Get the wrong figures. I want to pick the figures, damn it. They make them. Their stuff is plenty good. Paints up nicely. Have to replace some of their lances and stuff because they get too bendy and such. But other than that, I'm happy with them. I do not mind recruiting from Essex. But I don't want them telling me who's in my army. Because they picked the wrong figures. Some people don't like to do that. A friend of mine that just was happy painting whatever the hell they sent him. And I'm like, you're literally taking the most fun thing, one of the most fun things out, and something I'm kind of good at, out of the equation for me. And if you want to help me out, how about make some figures that don't have any flash so I don't have to clean them off? Because that I don't like to do. Or cast them in something black so I don't have to primer them. There's a board game out there. It's Civil War, and somebody posted, I think it was on the War Games Facebook page or something like that. And he said, hey, what's the prettiest board of any board game you have? And right off the bat, I never played the game. I've seen pictures of it. It's an American Civil War game, and in my opinion, is the prettiest board ever. I don't remember what it's called. I think it's got a long-ass name. But it looks like the whole thing was drawn with colored pencils. It's beautiful. It's absolutely gorgeous board. Absolutely a gorgeous board. Well, I'm obviously not paying attention to what I'm doing because that's not what I needed to do next. I needed to mix this up. I'm going to do a little frills around the jacket, the coat. Numbers are looking good for DBA of Moab. 18 on a Saturday for the Warband theme tournament and 14 for the scenarios on British battles. And how accurate are those numbers? I mean, do you end up having people sign up? I know that a lot of it may be that one that you ask for a lot of like, let me back up. Getting a little too excited. There is, I'm not sure if it's the events you run or something, or some of the events that are run in England, but I hear all the time, you know, there's only 3 slots left. Make sure you get your thing in. So I guess it's like whatever event I'm thinking of is very limited for space, or, you know, maybe it's kind of an exclusive thing, and, you know, because it's an exclusive, you guys have more of a people that participate and sign in. Because what I've found is you can't count on people's word. You know, oh yeah, I'm going to be there, then they're never there, you know. So you guys get any of that stuff, or pretty much if you say you're going to be there, you're going to be there? There's Kevin. Welcome back, Kevin. Hope you're feeling better. Because I don't like to say I'm going to do something and then I don't do it. They have to register and pay their fee at the time of registration. Why is that? Is there that much limited space? Like, you don't have enough tables to... If 6 people showed up at the last minute, they wouldn't be able to play? Or how does that work? That's just the polar opposite of how we do things here in the South. I can't even get people to count on whether or not they're gonna show up on Monday. You know. Anyone planning on going to Fall In? I won't. I've never been. It's at the wrong time of the year. Historicon's the only one you can count on me going. And I may not be able to go next year because we're going to Europe, supposedly. We'll see. Supposedly. Maybe we'll just bring another pandemic on top of us and it'll shut everything down. We won't go. So. I try not to get too excited about anything and get the carpet pulled out from under me. But I've never been to Fall In. I've never been to Cold Wars. They're just at the wrong time of the year. Fall In is too close to Anniversary. And Cold Wars is too close to our April convention here in Florida. So there's no point. Time to go. Okay, the parole officer showed up early. We're going to do a cruise. We're big cruisers, so my fear, my scare, being a spoiled American, I cannot sleep in an environment that's not cold enough. So that's what we're going to do. We're going to do that in 2020, and then the pandemic happened. I've never been to Europe, and we're not going to go if there's all kinds of crazy restrictions. So, but that's the plan. If I go to Historicon, I just don't have enough days off. I just don't have enough days off to do everything. So, you went to Europe this summer. It was very European. Well, I've been out of the country, but people that have never been out of the country definitely need to go out of the country so they realize how good we have it here. Or how good we used to have it here, or whatever. I don't mind traveling, but the first thing I miss is all the stuff I'm used to. Air conditioning, ice and drinks. Those two things. We'll see if it happens. If it happens, it happens. If it doesn't, it doesn't. If it doesn't, as long as it doesn't happen on the way over there, I'd rather not have to do all my work in ahead of time for like freaking 2 weeks and then find out I don't go and I did all that work in vain. So. Hey, Rick, long time no see. I've never seen you. Yeah, I couldn't get out here any earlier. This week's been kind of a mess. Not really a mess, just had a lot of stuff that, Monday was game night. Tuesday was run around and I had to do all kinds of stuff and go to the gym. And yesterday was the gym, and what else did I do? Got back too late, Today I'm like, I ain't going to the gym. I'm going to paint. I'm painted all week. Back with dinner, but none for Rick. Heathen, ice and drinks. Yes, ice and drinks, damn it. Why bother living in a first world nation if you can't have ice and drinks? Went to Iceland back in 2012. That sounds cool. Sounds cool. Where's the Heffalump? He's over here. Went to Iceland in late August. I love to travel when it's cold. I don't want to go to Europe in the summer. I do not want to go to Europe in the summer. I already live in a hot place and there's air conditioning everywhere. I don't think I'd do well. We'll see. You know, it's not the end of the world if we go or can't go. I said I try not to get too excited about stuff since we live now in the land of the rug pulled out from under you. It's just better not to get too excited about something. Like I don't pack for conventions until like the very last moment, you know. Pompeii was so cool. Unless you were there that same day. Just kidding. You made cube steak baked in cream of mushroom soup and mashed potatoes. Man, take a nap after that. Okay, let's put the bow. Let's paint the bow up. Let's get our bow color. Cream of mushroom soup. I've kind of OD'd on that. And I haven't had it in a while. Your lion rampant nightmare continues. You still haven't gotten it? See, that's why I couldn't do, what's that thing you guys do? Kickstarter. I couldn't do Kickstarter. Okay, I put my money in. When are we going to reach that? When are you going to build it? When is it going to come out? When's it coming? When's it coming? Is it coming yet? Is it coming? Well, when's it coming? Is it coming yet? You know. Oh, people have their copies and you don't have it. Oh. The easiest way to get version 2 is having bought version 1. Go buy version 1, and as soon as you buy version 1, oh, at least I can mess with this one. Version 2 will show up. But I said that, so then it won't. We could be here all night with that. Looking into it. Is it available on Amazon? 3D files on Kickstarter are mostly my way. Waiting for my pre-order of Great Battles Julius Caesar Deluxe Edition. You don't need that. You need to work on that Civil War game. Yeah. If I pay for something, I basically want it immediately. It's not that I need it. It's just that, you know, it'd drive you crazy. That's why I try to order everything through Amazon that I can. I don't know what it is about them, but they seem to be on the ball more than anybody else. I know some people don't like them. I don't like Walmart. You know the difference between Amazon and Walmart? I don't have to deal with Walmart people when I order from Amazon. And the guy that delivers it, or lady, is always pleasant. Come on, gamers are the worst for delays. Come on, is that what it's called that? Come on, give me the game, come on. Come on, is it out yet? Come on, where's my copy? Come on, I want to play. Is it that or is it Simon? Get to the game. Osprey's checkout itself wasn't the smoothest either. Your local Amazon driver is a Mets fan, and when he sees me walking with my Mets hat, he always beeps the horn and fist pumps me. Good. Oh, come on. Cool Mini or not? I guess not if you don't get it. Sounds like a game show. Cool Mini or not? Not. Swipe if you like this mini. I shouldn't talk about that. I don't know what the hell I'm talking about. That was after my time. Those things they have on there. Take this quiz and we'll find the miniature that's perfect for you. What? Cool mini or not? I thought it was come on. Damn it. Have to change my whole material. So, I mentioned earlier that I'm starting to get my 20 millimeter juices flowing again. Not to give up on this, just to kind of do it on the side. Like today I feel like painting some other person, you know, whatever. Just to do that on the side. I got plenty of them to do. I saw some 20 millimeter buildings that I really like that are 3D printed that I think are pretty reasonably priced. But what I noticed is they're actually really nice looking. What I noticed is they have, instead of having like a floor, like it'll be like a 2-story building, what they used to have is they would have the floor underneath support kind of the floor, so it sits there. These now almost have the whole level that's removable. So you could have, you know, you have a level 1 building, and you have the second story is all, you know, a separate piece, which is kind of interesting. I think that's probably a better way to do it. However, none of them have, or very frequently do you have one that has no stairway in it. There's like not even an opening for the stairway. So, you know, I mean, I guess if you're playing something like Rapid Fire or maybe other games where you go into this building and you can pick what level you want to be at. But what I plan on doing is like you need to go up and down the stairs, you know. So, don't know how I'm going to do that. Probably do a little thing in the floor. Almost like I don't know. There's got to be a spot on there where, you know, they make a lot of games like Song of Fire Ice. Never play Zombicide. I can't remember if I played Zombicide or not. Zombicide's the one I get mixed up with the one with a shopping mall. There's like one that's like a mall or something like that. I forget what it's called, but one of those co-op games. Well, their miniatures are not cool if they make the garbage GOT. Oh, Game of Thrones miniatures? But they're notorious on Kickstarter for lengthy delays over a year, maybe even 2, and always blame China. Well, don't make your shit in China. Then you can't blame China. I'm telling you, there should be a website, a distributor. All they do is called Not Made in China. And just sell everything there that's not made in China. I think people would go to you. You know, or maybe on Amazon there's, because I'm really careful what I buy, there should be a thing. Don't show me things that are come from China. You know, until they have freedom in China. Then I'm not no problem with Chinese people, you know, obviously. Thought the president was crazy when he talked about MAGA Americans. Yeah, and not made in China directory. You know, I don't want stuff made in Iran either. You know, all the bad places, you know. Nate Barrick is selling off all of Harold Murgery's figures at the con, and he has a large collection of 20 millimeter World War II stuff. Is it unpainted? Because, you know, I can't do anything with something that's painted. Separated by category. Yeah. Brushes. If you ever buy brushes and they don't say where they're made, it's because they're made in China. And, you know, some of them say it. And, you know, here's the thing. I've got Chinese brushes because I already had them, okay? I don't want to buy them anymore. These ones that, look, this bastard's made in China. This thing's as good as anything that's not. I mean, all these brushes are shit, so I'm just overpaying for brushes, but, you know, it's just the principle of it. Yeah, I don't have time to do that. I'll look and see. I've never found anything at the flea market worth a damn buying. I never have. You know, I don't really need anything. I mean, I guess that's a good problem to have. I don't, you know, I talk about, hey, I want this, I want that. I'm good. I got enough stuff to keep me busy. I'm not buying any more 20 mil stuff until I paint this 20 mil stuff I have. That's kind of a deal that I've made with myself. Pine Sol. God, I hate the smell of Pine Sol. It's not the worst thing. White vinegar would be worse. I got this stuff that you can strip like. Obviously, you can't do it with resin. Well, it might work with resin. I wouldn't try it. Called orange something or another, and it actually smells pleasant, and it'll strip the paint off of die-cast cars. And it's thick, so you can like brush it on, and it does. You know, you don't lose all of it. You know, you don't have to like stick it in a tub where it covers the thing up. But he's selling in the main room and is a vendor. Okay, well we will see him then. What was his name? What's the name of his? Nate Barrick. Harold Mudry. None of those two names ring a bell. Talk about projects. Never buy stuff because it makes deal with myself. Finish all the miniatures. Yeah, it's always good to fantasize. There's a guy that's on that I'm Facebook friends with. You know, you take that for what it is. You know, I've never met them. They live on the other side of the world, and they have so much 20 millimeter stuff that it makes me puke. And it's like, it's how I used to have my 1/35th scale stuff. I'd buy this, or when I had my 2400 scale ships. Now, I had a lot of 2400 scale ships painted, maybe 300, but I probably had another 300 that were started. You know, some things were built on them, some painted. You just have to get rid of that stuff and start over. I have to like cleanse I can't just have like tons of stuff. And this guy has so much stuff. You know, I mean, I'm sure he's older and has had a long time to collect it. But he has half-started things. I just wouldn't know. I wouldn't know where to start. I'd have to like get rid of it all and just start with a clean slate. It's just overwhelming to just know where to start. It's just overwhelming. It's just the clutter is just incredible. He'll provided all the tables for every event in Tampa going back to Suncoast skirmishes. Wow. .365 con. $365 a year, huh? I mean, I don't have anything compared to most gamers, but you know, when I bought all of my purchases that I shouldn't have made, I was basically poor. You know, I shouldn't have been buying any of this stuff, but I did, and I haven't gotten rid of them. Emphasis on the con part. 365 con. 365 con artists. All right. This guy has his bow in a case. We're going to use the same color, but we're not going to bring it as far up, so it'll look like two different colors. Just because I'm not lazy. Yeah, I am. I just don't see what the point is in cogitating about what color I want to paint it. It's really not that critical on this guy. Besides, these guys aren't like, they were forced to stand at the foot of an elephant that could be like bucking and, you know, cause all kinds of issues. Dodging road apples. Well, you're officially stuffed from dinner. You get to do the dishes. Don't your roommates do the dishes? You cook for them too? And if you do cook for them, do they ever complain about what you cooked? I didn't like that. Well, you make it yourself then next time, asshole. Sometimes they complain about what I cook. Screw them, eat it yourself. Yeah, I don't miss having roommates. Lived in this house for 7.5 years, and I've done the dishes probably less than 10 times. Yeah, well, you don't need to do the dishes if you're going to Amigos or what's the name of that place? McDonald's. You don't eat Scottish food on a plate. All right, we need to do a... That will work nicely for the spear. Let's go ahead and do that. Have Ruby's different kind. Yeah, it's not the same. And you could get roommates that are really incompatible with you. I think one of the things that's probably the most incompatible would be if you live with people who wanted your house at a different temperature. I don't think I could live with somebody who wanted to keep the house at 80. I'd freaking kill them. Or I'd, you know, go sleep in my car or something like that. Or didn't like ceiling fans, or, you know. You're nearing the 100-mile walking since the start of June. Excellent. You can't walk too much. You know? McDonald's breakfast slaps. Oh boy, somebody's talking like a millennial. I think one of my roommates is here. Hold on one second. I have a friend who talks like that. It's rubbed off on me. Ugh. Really? You gonna start with me? In Soviet Russia, McDonald's breakfast slaps you. Yeah. Arthritis in knees can't work for crap. I don't need any arthritis. I got arthritis. I didn't go to McDonald's for like a year, and then I went once earlier this year, and then I realized why I hadn't gone in a year. And I don't know that I'm going to go back ever. Their bacon, eggs, and cheese biscuits used to be pretty good. I can't deal with the level of incompetence that every encounter at one of those places entails. You know, plus their stuff just tastes horrible. I mean, it used to be cheap, bad for you, but tastes good. It's always been bad for you, but at least it was cheap and tasted good. It's not cheap. It's expensive as shit, you know, and it tastes bad. So that's a lot of walking. Well, how long has it been? All of June, all of July, all of August. 3 months. That's about 3 miles every day. And consistently. You know, an average of 3 miles every day. I think that's pretty good. You should start seeing health benefits. Well, I'm sure you've already seen it. You know, I had a really bad day. What day was it that I had a really bad day? Tuesday. Because I didn't think those things were going to come in. I didn't know I was going to have to do the next day. So I went to the gym, and I'm glad I did because I felt a lot better after going there. You know, so exercise is supposed to make you feel better. Supposed to release the endorphins or mighty morphins or something like that. Hey, I'm not a science guy. Made your own cheeseburgers last night. It cost less than a meal at McDonald's. Yeah, McDonald's is super expensive. You know the other thing that'll floor people working at McDonald's? If you go and order like an iced coffee and say, I just want it black, like, you don't want cream in it? You have to explain yourself to them. I was like, no. I don't want cream. I don't want sugar. I don't want to end up like you. Oh, I'm sorry. I say it out loud. You know, I drink coffee because, you know, it makes things happen. If you load it down with sugar, it basically counteracts the caffeine. So, like, why even bother having the coffee to begin with? Rick has dibs on being the pink mighty morphin. Isn't it always a girl? It's always a girl. My daughter used to watch one of them when she was little. I'll be honest with you. If they had that around when I was a little kid, I'd like it. I think it'd be something I'd be into. But, you know, 6 or whatever age. All the rubber masks and shit like that. But the people that are on it are what, in their 20s? Did you watch the dinosaur one? Whatever it was called. The Dino Thunder? How do I know that? I don't know. How many different seasons do they have? Like probably like 30 or something? You watched the very first Mighty Morphin Power Rangers back in like '93, and that was it. Well, I would have been 22, so unless I was into little kids, I don't think I'd be watching it back then. 93. I remember 93 really well. Shit, it was just the other day, wasn't it? Oh, not really. Japanimation when I was a kid. Only one I watched was Battle of the Planets in the late 70s. I used to love that as a kid. I think I liked it because the bad guys robots or devices. They were all like creatures that were based on stuff on this planet. It wasn't just like total make believe. It was like a big vulture or a flying turtle or some shit like that, you know? It wasn't some make believe thing. You get 9. Yeah, you get a pass. Speed Racer. Never seen Speed Racer. Wait a second. It's a car. It's a game. It's a show about an Asian driver. It should be a short show. It's humor, folks. Never seen it. Never seen it. It's too early. And like I said, back then, you saw what was available in your area. It's not like now where you could just like, well, they don't have this, so let me watch it. You know, they didn't have YouTube. Okay. Would have been a lot cooler had the car Speed was driving was a transformer. They have, maybe there's more of these, but they have video games. Well, they have at least one video game, I know because I have it, that is cell animation, and it's a transformer video game. And it's just like you're playing the cartoon from the '80s. It's pretty cool because of that. It's pretty freaking cool. I enjoyed it. I appreciated it. But was it a great game? Nah. But, you know, it was pretty cool. Overworked and underpaid as always. Is that a New Zealand thing or? We don't have enough time off. I'm not going to really complain about pay. I'm just going to say we don't have enough time off. I've been maxed out on days off for shit, probably 10 years now. I think next year Mitch was bragging he's going to officially have twice as many days off a year that I do. No, joke's on him. I can afford shoes. All this stuff is just catching. This is not a very detailed figure. That's why we're putting him on ground level to pick up the road apples. Like road watermelons. It is an elephant. So those of you that are war gamers this should be just about everybody. Is there a period that you find that is popular? Like in my case would be American Civil War. That you just don't find interest in all? Like, is there a period that everybody is gaming with? I'm talking about historical periods. I'm not talking about science fiction. Is there, or fantasy? Is there some period that people seem to play a lot and you're like, I just don't care about that? Why do you people even play that? For me, it really could only be ACW, because there's no other periods that are really, really popular that I'm not interested in, because I'm either just not interested in them and they're just not really popular, or one of those. You're not a war gamer. You're a gamer of war. Okay, well, semantics. Moderns. Are moderns that popular? I take it you mean modern like everything post-World War II, right? See a lot of modern warfare stuff. Like 21st century stuff, Nordic, or newer than Vietnam. Would you still consider Vietnam moderns? I can't really get into it either. It's too recent, so whatever you're reading is probably, biased to the max. One way or another, I don't want to read biased crap. You actually want to war game Vietnam. Yeah. I don't even want to watch modern movies. Well, the pike shot period is not really popular, I would say. Mr. Doug, welcome. Just can't get into Dungeons and Dragons genre. Good for those that do. So I don't do fantasy, but I prefer fantasy to science fiction. Because science fiction can go too far. Science fiction will have like really high advanced one thing. It just depends on what science you want to believe in. There's some science, that sounds like current events. No, what I mean is that there's just some things that are like, you have space travel, but then you have guys that can only shoot this far. Like, weapons nowadays are more accurate than that. That doesn't make any sense. You can't get into post-apocalyptic. You don't like the period. Okay. Fair enough, You don't even like Black Power and Warhammer Fantasy. Well, it shouldn't be there. It just seems that, the Empire with the big cannons and stuff like that, that's... Well, don't worry, in a couple of years, they'll just redo all the rules and they'll eliminate those powder weapons because they want you to buy something else. Isn't that how they do? Isn't that how they operate? Okay, this guy needs to some fleshing out. This thing needs to stop whipping up. It's distracting. You would have wood elves. You've been watching a series on the Avalon Hill board games. Pretty good. A few of them, those that you once owned. Is it on YouTube there, Doug? I don't get much of a chance to play board games. Well, I don't really want to give it much of a chance to play board games, but I don't mind them. And I certainly like watching reviews, and I certainly like watching unboxings. I do. Especially if you get somebody who has a really relaxing meter to their voice. Like there's a guy that does a lot of reviews, and I don't know how much fun he'd be to play games with, okay? Because I'm fun to play games with, okay? I may not be able to explain things worth a shit, okay? But I'm fun. I have a lot of fun. Well, I think so, anyways. I like to get excited when exciting things happen. But there's a guy on there that does a lot of reviews, and he's got a lot of games, and I don't know if he's played any of them, but I think he does a really good job with them. His name's Blast Pop, and or his handle's Blast Pop, and he's really relaxing to listen to. He's he may not be the life of the party. It's like one of those things where my wife will be like, "Oh, you're listening to that guy?" I said, "Yeah, he's really relaxing." Now, there's another guy I listen to who's very relaxing, and yeah, relaxation's good, and keep wanting to play like who is it? Decision Games that makes all those like that makes all those solitaire games. I want to try something like that. Suez 56. It's like a little solitaire game. But I'm like, I need to watch that and see if somebody has an unboxing on the pieces, because I love unboxings. Like, I wonder how it comes in the package. GeForce, yeah, Battle of the Planets. That's what I used to watch. That's the Japan one I used to watch. In the late 70s when we lived in Alabama. The actual Japanese name for it is actually something like Ninja Science Team Gatchaman or something like that, which is where their G comes from. I never saw it in Japanese, but I like that one. I was a big fan of that. So Rick, you do videos. Why don't you should do a video on how teach people how to shuffle cards. I've watched them. I'm incompetent. I cannot shuffle freaking cards. So I hate card driven. I don't dislike card driven games. I just don't think you get a good shuffle because like if you're playing some kind of a card game, it's like take turns shuffling. I'm like somebody else shuffle for me because it's just really frustrating to be this talented and I can't shuffle cards. Rough Swordsman Wargamer is good, as is Hex 2 Hex. I'm sure there's a lot of them out there. Haven't heard of any of those. I watched a guy this morning. He actually did a review of a game that I've never played. I played the sister game. It's more complicated. And I don't know if Joe's still on here, but hey, Joe, if you're still on here, I watched somebody do a review of the Seekrieg flag game, whatever it's called. I can't remember what it's called now. And Zilla Blitz, another name that I don't really. There's a guy that did a freaking great review of my favorite game. Well, not my favorite game, my first game I ever played. And his name was the Iron something. What's the name of Satori's flag game? You know, the simpler Seekrieg 5. Anyways, he did it, and I think he did a really good job of it. And it makes sense to me because I know how to play. Well, I used to know how to play. I'm going to forget how to play. When are you going to... That probably would be a better game for Mitch in the crowd if you bring that. And we'll play it, whatever it's called. The flag game. Admiral of the Fleet, that's the one. You should run a game for that. For us to play. It looks like there's enough detail in there. I mean, I want to know exactly where the shell hits because I'm that kind of a rivet counter, but that'd be cool. Anyways, this guy did a review of that, and I think he did a really good job of doing the review. Surprised me was the number of non-war games Avalon Hill produced. Yeah, they had a fair amount of them. I don't know that I've played a whole bunch of them. I've played Merchant of Venus. Actually, I played that one 4 or 5 times. I don't remember how to play it anymore, but I played it 4 or 5 times. It was all right. I'm going to write myself a note. That's my homework assignment. I always get good ideas from you guys. Avalon Hill. I never played SPI games. I've never played a single SPI. They came out too early. They were out of business by the time I started playing games. As a matter of fact, when I started playing games, GDW was already on its way out. GDW was only like around another 5 years. So I never got a chance to play them. There's some people that do a really good job with reviews. I certainly wouldn't be one of them. I'm just not. I mean, I guess I'd probably do okay if I knew what I was talking about, and if I had like an outline. But I do like to see unboxings a lot. Okay, Andrew, thanks for stopping by. The guy that spearheaded SPI came from Avalon Hill. Cool. Yeah, it'd be interesting to read about. A game that is an Avalon Hill. Well, it depends on when you consider Avalon Hill. Is it still Avalon Hill when Hasbro bought them because that Vegas game where you build a casino is a pretty cool game. I played that a few times. That's a fun game. Vegas SmackDown, Vegas something like that. I mean, played it in 10 years. You know, that's a pretty fun game. There's a rumor Avalon Hill chose name because initials were the same as Adolf Hitler. Oh, come on, man. Nobody liked Hitler. I don't believe that shit. I don't believe that shit. Hitler wasn't even a fancy dresser. I mean, what's to like about him? Nothing. Yeah, I don't believe that. I never could. I never could figure out how to play up front. I played it a couple times. I wanted to like the game. I understood the relative ranges. I just couldn't get over when you started taking damage, the guys that were to the right of your stack are less vulnerable. I don't know. I just didn't play it enough times. Very abstract game. But another game that has that abstract distance I really, really liked was Attack Sub. I really liked Attack Sub. They published a baseball and football game too. I'm out. Acquire, right? And all that stuff. The guy I used to play with, his favorite game is a game do I like Squad Leader? Yes, I played it a lot. And Advanced Squad Leader. A lot. A lot. The only reason I don't like it is I don't like how structured the turn is. I've had some great games of it. I don't like the bell curve. I don't like 2d6. It doesn't keep me from playing it, but it's just not my preference. I've played a lot of it. Not compared to DBA, but I've played 100 games of it, probably. I think it would be great on computer. Because probably one of the weakest points of the game is that you can't readily see line of sight from a single hex. It'd be nice to click on a hex and see everything it was, had hexes too. I've played some of Lock and Load Tactical, which I think is actually a better game because of the interaction between both people. I've only played it on the computer, but it looks great. I mean, they're both good-looking board games, And I don't think they're very difficult. That's my background is World War II anal retentive, non-abstract games. So I go to play this and I'm like, what in the hell? It's a period I'm not familiar with, and it's abstract till the cows come home. So my next game I'll be playing with these figures won't be as abstract, whatever that means. That's one of the reasons I want to go back to World War II skirmish and do that again, just to maintain some sanity in my life, because that is not abstract at all. What's the learning curve on it? It's not bad. It's the original Squad Leader. It's not bad at all. I think RuneQuest was Avalon Hill. Never played it though. Never played it. Remember, never played it doesn't mean I was opposed to playing it. I just didn't get a chance to. So the guy that I used to play with, growing up in my 20s, he was a big board gamer. He had lots of games, and one of his favorite games was an Avalon Hill game called 1830, and I absolutely detested it. It was ugly to look at. It involved. I don't like bidding games, and that's a stock game, so that's even worse. I just don't like those games, and they're not newbie friendly because anything that involves bidding, you have to like figure out what really you think is something's worth, and you don't have any background information on when to. And you also have to kind of judge that against, when should I do the bid? And always hated those games. I like the Crayon Railroad games. It's just the whole bidding aspect and, not my thing. Another guy that I grew up with, his favorite game was Advanced Third Reich. I hate that game. So I don't love every Avalon Hill game that I played. Now there's some that are really cool, like Patton's Best. I had a lot of fun playing a Patton's Best game. Not double blind. We'd take turns. So you go on a mission and you take a tank, and then one person runs the Germans, or rolls dice for the Germans. So you're playing a solitaire game, but somebody's there with you, experiencing all the frustration and crazy stuff that happens. And that was fun. That was fun for a while. And there's a computer game that replicates that really well, and the guy has just gone hog wild with it. And it's called Armored Commander 2. And you can not only can you can play Patton's Best basically with any nation you want and any campaign you want. So if you're like, Patton's Best was only Northwest Europe from 44 to the end of the war, and as the Americans, and Armored Commander, you literally can do Italians invading Libya in 1940, or the British defending it, or Russia, Germans attacking in Barbarossa, or on the Western Front as the Germans in 1944. It's really pretty cool. Now it's very minimalist graphics, but yeah, that's the problem that I have with board games that are really complicated. They're really better on the computer. I don't have anything against board games proper. I don't have anything against chit games. I just think that being able to start a scenario and hit click and everything's set up for you, or everything's saved and you can go back to where it's at, is almost necessary. Who has time? Oh, Wooden Ships and Iron Men. Well, there's only one thing I didn't like about Wooden Ships and Iron Men, and that was a lot of the boards you had to like ignore these lines that didn't mean anything in there. So you had to kind of remember that, okay, in this one it's actually a sandbar. I didn't like that. Other than that, I think it was a pretty solid game and a fun game too. And just, I don't know that I've ever heard anybody talk bad about Wooden Ships and Iron Men. Everybody that ever played it seemed to have a positive experience with it. Pretty much seems to be a universal loved game, as far as I can tell. All right, we gotta dry this thing out because this water is getting to the tip and watering down what I don't need. Yeah, I never heard of ill words spoken about Wooden Ships and Iron Men. I'm sure someone didn't like it, but you believe they made it for the computer as well? Well, you got to make it for the computer now. I never had a Commodore 64. As much as I wanted to get one, I couldn't have a computer that was for playing games. Well, you know what? I can now. Damn it. Tactics 2. I played that one time. Just blew the doors of my opponent and didn't want to play again. Yone 5. Never had one. I'm not big on retro stuff, though. I'm not big on retro stuff. When it comes to things with graphics, I'm just like, I've already done that. I don't need to go back and play Atari 2600 games. Said there was a story that a frat house caught fire and one of the guys rescued a copy of 1914 from the fire. Then another guy grabbed the copy and threw it back in the fire. 1914, I'm not familiar with that one. Had a copy of a Barbarossa game. I don't know which one it was. It was an Avalon Hill game. I think it was called just Rush in Front. It actually, the board actually looked pretty nice, but it was core level, so it was a bunch of units that I wasn't familiar with. Retro stuff I can fix. Stuff today, not. Yeah, I'm not a fan of the retro graphics, though. I'm nearsighted, so I feel like I'm nearsighted when I watch it. Maybe you just got to stick with it for a while, because that Armored Commander 2, after a while, I got used to what it looked like, and it's actually pretty solid gameplay, and I know why they did it that way. They didn't want to, complicate the game too much with the other stuff. All right, so we gotta put something on this guy's head that's not going to look. Let's go with it like something that's dark brown. Let's go something dark brown with this guy. Be right back. Retro stuff you can fix. I can't fix any of it. I can fix stuff with a YouTube video first. I look at the YouTube video and go, oh, I can handle that. Or like, hell no, I'm not messing with that. Best way to fix something is get something that doesn't break in the first place. Problem solved. I think we're going to use a mixture of these two. Not everybody has the same skill set. Does a game system become retro as soon as they make a new one? Nah, maybe 20 years or something like that. May your crops grow tall and bountiful. How I'm going to say goodbye from people from now on. That's just... sounds like somebody that grows too much corn. Boy's got a corn cob stuck up his ass. Sounds like a greeting from one Amish to another. Someone in Skyrim just said that to me. Do you have to text to type or you actually hear their voice? Man, there's just so many games that just have so much grinding. I remember way back in the days, back when I was playing World of Warcraft. Yes, I played World of Warcraft like in 2006. It was a lot of fun until you had to get in a group with other people to get better stuff. Because it's basically a treasure hunt. You stop finding treasure, it stops becoming entertaining. But everything just takes too much time and you just end up wasting time trying to find a group or what have you. But I don't know where I was going with this, but do people still play that? I don't know. But I liked it because at that time there weren't very many open world games. I like the open world games. Like you're walking around like, I wonder what the hell's up in that place. So climb your ass up there and find out. And it may kill you. But heard their voice. They were grateful for my efforts. I do own a farm, so I appreciated his words of good fortune on my crops. I don't want to know what you're growing there, Rick. I still can't figure out how the hell you can have a pirate fest in a place that is landlocked from salt water. Like, I mean, the closest salt water you have is a Salt Lake by a long shot. I mean, there's nothing that's... are there pirates on the Great Salt Lake? Mormon pirates. What's that like? Some things are now legal. which I technically don't have a problem with, but man, it makes people stupid. It really does. Yeah, those pirates had to travel a long way to set up that fair in a local berry farm. Well, yeah, I don't really care for movies that have movies or shows that have a drug reference that promotes it. So I actually think that they handled Stranger Things really well. They didn't exactly show that marijuana makes you this sharpest knife in the drawer. You have a Renaissance festival going on in Maryland now. I didn't know you were in Maryland. You like it there? Get this guy out. And is it a real Renaissance fair? I'm sorry, you're wearing that's out of period. That's the 1300s. Like, if you have a true Renaissance fair, nobody should be able to dress up like a Viking. That's not Renaissance. We have one here in town. It's been many years since I've gone. It's kind of lame. It's too expensive. It's okay, like the USA in miniature, as they say. I don't know what that's saying. Think the Renaissance fair should be called Medieval Fair. There you go. Is ours called the Medieval Fair? I think it is. Hogtown Medieval Fair. Apparently, this town used to be called Hogtown. Who knows? I mean, you know. You go far back enough, there was no town here. Your other channel. I didn't know you had two channels. You double dipping? Not the white died again. Yeah, I don't love ours. Ours just there's several people in there that you're just wondering you know they look forward to it because that way they can be in period and not wear any deodorant. There's some folks that could use a good wash. Yeah, I haven't gone in probably 10 years. 'Cause I think it's over $30 a head. Expensive. I mean, really, do you want me to sit in the joust saying, Hey, that's the wrong heraldry. The red and the blue shouldn't be touching. There should be white or yellow between them, you know. You near Gainesville? I am in Gainesville. Absolutely. Kevin, you should know that. Yep. Since 1981. This guy's going to look like a Mongol. Well, it is a Mongol figure. I am not Gainesville. No. I actually don't mind this town. I just don't like most of the people who live here. It's way too hippie for me. And the problem is there's a lot of people here that are like, I don't have anything nice, so I want to keep other people from having nice stuff, so I'm not jealous. Like, who wants to keep people down? You know? So it's in a good location. I think it's hot as shit, but that's everywhere in Florida. There's no breeze. But for being in Florida, it's like the best place for like not worrying about hurricanes. I just don't like the run-of-the-mill people that live here. It's a bit too socialist for my take. And I don't want to live in a place with it's closed on Sunday either. But it's home, you know. That friend of mine whose wife is controlling actually let him come over for a game last weekend. Since she got to come over by herself the weekend prior. First time I've gamed with him without her probably in 3 years. Some people like being controlled. I guess it's worth it. Her stuff must be that good. I don't want to control people. I don't want to be controlled. Your Renaissance Fair is in February. The one here, I think, is the last weekend in... It's 2 weekends in a row. I think it's the last one in January and the first one in February. So it's the perfect time of year because the weather is awesome during that time here. But there's usually rain during that time, so it ends up being like a mud hole. Yeah, I actually won't miss when we don't live in this town anymore. But that involves moving. I don't really want to move. And hell, we've been in the same house since 2003, and I don't want to move. Pain in the ass. I'll move when I'm retired. Don't have anything to do. Not like, celebrate from moving all weekend. And is there a safe word for that? Don't know what you mean by that. Yeah, I wouldn't mind living over where part of the world you live in, Rhett. Actually, I like St. Petersburg a lot. But we don't have to worry about storms at all. And really, Crime is kind of non-existent here compared to, big places. Moving is yes, it is. Being controlled, yeah. I'm not into controlling people, you know. Shouldn't force you how to do anything. You could do it if you want to, not do it if you want to. You like east of Tampa, generally no weather issues. Yeah, I'm a beach person. But, I mean, people here, when there's a storm coming, and really we don't have any storm issues here other than, losing power, people go nuts. So, and we're not even in a place that's dangerous. So I can't imagine how they are where there is wind issues. Just like insane pushing people out of the way, zombie apocalypse kind of stuff. Irma was the first hurricane actually hit us hard. Lost a fence once, but I hated that fence. There you go. Sounding like a good Republican there. Used to be. And then they soured me. I'm a conservative libertarian. I don't like anybody. Listen to the video coming up. We have a little small politics section. It just kind of happened. I don't like politicians, so. Of any flavor. If you have a multi-fuel generator, you have no issues. You almost got a hurricane here from the Gulf of California, but it died in Mexico. It's not the first thing to die in Mexico. Yeah, you guys get like no rain or like too much rain, right? All right, this guy's got some kind of a belt or something. I feel like I need to work a gray in here somewhere, so let's go ahead and do that. Getting too much now? Yeah, we got a lot. But speaking about politics, one thing I can't watch anymore. I can't watch I don't watch news or anything like that. For many years, I don't watch it anymore. I figured, maybe this Ukraine thing will be fun to watch. I'm like, already in day one, I'm like, where they're like, hey, they mowed everybody down on that island that surrendered, and then 2 days later, they actually didn't kill anybody. They took them. I'm like, I'm out. I've tuned out. I haven't watched it since. But that show that Mitch was telling me about that I really would like it, The Terminal List. I started watching it. I'm 30 minutes in. I'm like, I got to stop watching this. I'm getting angry. Like, I don't want to know that stuff like that goes on. And I didn't even get to the backstabbing part, but just, I don't want to see any modern stuff. We're going to go back in time to this stuff, so I'm agnostic about current events. A lot happier that way. Well, feel like this guy ought to be like the same color of this here. You get hurricane weather up here in eastern Pennsylvania. You over there in the Poconos, or you live current events, so can't really ignore or escape it. Yeah, more power to you, man. That's tough. I don't know. I don't want to know about it. Just make me angry. I don't want to know that there's people that would do anything for coin. People put their life on the line, and then politicians sell you to the highest bidder. I used to watch Homeland. I watched like 6 or 7 episodes of Homeland. I wouldn't watch it now. I wouldn't want to watch it now. That whole what's happened in the Middle East in the last 10 years, just like, I don't want to know about it. I don't want to know. And thankfully, I don't have anybody in the service. That's not to poo-poo people that are in the service by any stretch of the imagination. But I think it makes the tough job that they have even tougher. I think it's probably okay. You live near enough to the Poconos. You had a derecho. What is that? Knocked out all the power for a couple days, even the gas stations. Oh, I bet people came unglued. People didn't know how to behave before anyways. Ever since the pandemic, people know how to behave even less. A wind rain event, derecho. Why is it called a right? I have a right to that wind or rain event. Like El Nino. Why is it named the kid? And why does the kid make such a mess? Somebody needs to tell that kid to pick up after himself. Well, I got this little rim on the shield, and I don't have much to do other than maybe the boots, and that's it. And this clown's done. Ready to rape and pillage things. Or, just stand by while the elephant stomps on you. I may just do his boots in black. Done, right? Let me have a little bit of highlighting on there. That's right, El Niño, the kid, the boy. Boy, that's a big storm. That's why it's called El Niño. Not exactly a name that inspires fear. Who was I listening to the other? I mean, I figure people must have, just about everybody has some knowledge of the Spanish language, whether they realize it or not. If somebody says that's caca, everybody knows what that is, right? So I was listening to these guys, and it might have been the Yorkshire guys, because somebody turned me on. They said that they'd mentioned my channel on them. I'm like, all right, I'll listen to it. And it's actually, you know, for guys that have a strong foreign accent, I was able to understand every single thing those guys said. They speak very clearly. So congrats to them on that. But one of the guys had brought up that he wanted to learn about the Mexican Revolution. He's playing a game about the Mexican Revolution, you know, the Pancho Villa one, which most people don't know much about, including myself. It just doesn't interest me. Yeah, I'm not Mexican, so, you know, double whammy. But anyhow, I think the rules were called something like La Cucaracha. And one of the guys says, what does that even mean? I'm like, how do you not know what La Cucaracha means? El pollo loco, there you go. Sí, señor. Mm-hmm. How do you not know what La Cucaracha is? Es muy loco is what you're looking for. M-U-Y, muy. Very. But mucho also means very. Don't ask me. It's the other one. It's the other very. Trabajar de baños. Of course you don't know if it's spelled like that. You can't be serious, Dirk. You're a well-rounded individual. I mean, we know what the hell a kookaburra is. You can at least know what a cockroach is. You cockroach. Oh, I hate those things. They're almost as bad as communists. Rick es raro y se viste como una niña. Well, you know, that's in these days. What did you call me? Yeah. That's in these days. Yeah. All right, let's see what this clown looks like next to his clown elephant. You despise all roaches. Absolutely. If there was a button, if there was a red button that all you have to do is press it to get rid of all the roaches, I don't care what the repercussions are. You know, birds can go eat something else. You know, mice will find something else to eat. think that he'll look nice. You know, for a barbarian bastard. Do you have scorpions there in Florida? If we do, they're really small and they would be like around like rotten wood. My brother claims that he had one in his house, but I've never seen one. Spanish is the language of my ancestral ancestors. I refuse to learn it. You people will never learn. It's a good thing that my ancestors were really bad at spending money, or would have put a stop to you guys. I was a custodian, worked with Latinos. I had to learn how to tell them to clean the bathrooms. True story coming up. I'm one of the few people at work that speaks both languages, and my Spanish language is conversational only because I've never spoken to I don't speak to my parents in English. It's weird. It would be extremely weird to do so. But I've never gone to school in it. So it's limited on vocabulary, and but still, I'm the one that they get to translate shit if they've got like policy or whatever to do. And we had lots of people that didn't speak English at one time, and I had to make a sign that you put on the bathroom that says, "Please do not throw away used toilet paper in the garbage can, but flush it down the toilet." Because I guess wherever they were from, the toilets would get stopped up by just using paper. So basically, you know, don't wipe your ass and throw it in the garbage can, because the people that were custodials were having issues with that, you know. I can't say that I've had an issue with scorpions. Closest scorpion thing I've seen in the house is either an earwig, which isn't really that close, or spiders, but I'm not a spider person that freaks out with spiders. I mean, if they were tarantulas, yeah, we'd have to go kill them with hammers. But, you know, even a wolf spider or something like that, you know, I'd rather have those than roaches. I can't stand roaches. I usually just said trabajar and pointed. Trabajar. Work, damn it. I'll take spiders and snakes over roaches. I cannot stand roaches. It's their erratic behavior. It's their erratic movement. I think they're disgusting and they move erratically and they're very hard to stop. You know, snakes will surprise the living hell out of you, but they're cool. I mean, I don't want them crawling all over me. I don't want to fall in a pit of them, but, you know, I think that they're cool creatures. You know? Yeah, I don't go mess with spiders either, you know? If they're in the house, though, they're fair game. And frogs and stuff like that, I'll save. I go out of my way to save those guys. I try to put them back. Not that they come in often, but frogs are good. Squash. We have an agreement. How about those banana spiders? Walk through one of them things. Those things are creepy. But they can't exactly chase you down. They got 8 legs and they're slow. Snakes have no legs and they're fast. Don't use logic. Okay, that was the yellow colored one, so we're gonna have like a dirty brown colored dude. Dirty brown. What time is it? Only 9:15? I thought it was like 10 something. Cool. Spiders are bad luck if you kill them. What? Even in your house? Man, that's why I haven't won the lottery. They don't come in that often. A lot less bugs here than when we were here in 73. I think spraying for Nile mosquitoes worked on them too. Stock up on chocolate milk for a 3-day weekend. What are you, 13? Any insect eater is safe. There you go. We got tons of them here. That's why I love winter. I love winter here. Love it. Can't get enough. You can't go swimming. That's it. Everything else is better. Time to go watch the new Lord of the Rings series on Prime. Oh, I didn't know that was on there. I guess I probably need to watch The Hobbit first. I haven't seen it. It came out when my daughter was little. I'm like, I'll just wait to watch it when my daughter is older. And we're watching Lord of the Rings, the first and second one, and she didn't want to see the third one. I've seen all three, but that's it. Rick, give me some raspberry pink lemonade from Swiss when you're at the store. Swiss. We'll use this brown violet, which is kind of like an olive drab color. I can't get through this season of The Boys. I've tried. I've just lost interest. I used to love this. It just sucks. This season sucks. Just can't get into it. Back in 10, have to connect to a customer site now, so we'll lose internet. Oh, gotta have that work get in the way. Okay, we'll be here. I'd like to get this guy done tonight. That'd be pretty cool. I know you guys want to see this base put together. I certainly do. Then we'll go back to doing the 3 stands of light horse and then do the general. You guys see all the footage that they've put out recently about them moving the battleship Texas? They moved it to dry dock and they have that thing all sitting up out of the water. Would suck if you'd been looking forward to seeing that on some trip you were going to Galveston and you just missed it. You went and put it away, and I think it's like 3 or 4 years before it comes out. I remember when I was like 10 or 11 years old, we'd gone there. I remember going to that park and we couldn't go on the ship because it was too late. Like they were closing or something like that. I always got to places freaking late with my parents, always. Not me as an adult. I get there when the freaking place opens. Let other people wait on me. And a friend of mine that turned me on one of the biggest beef sticks I've ever seen. Never heard of the brand, but evidently is hard to find. I'm not going to go there. Are you doing this on purpose? Hey, whatever. As long as I don't have to watch, you can do whatever the heck you want. Is the general light horse? No. Actually, Attila's army can actually have a light horse general. It's a cav. It's a cav. Is the Texas the one that was grounded? I don't know that it was grounded. It was having major leak issues. But it apparently traveled fine from there to the shipyard. And yeah, I don't know. I think the way it works is they got to pump the water out. They put it in somewhere and pump the water out. But the problem is then it's sitting on the bottom of the hull, right? It's sitting on something that is similar to like when they launch a ship, which is so it's got to carry the weight. I mean, the freaking Texas weighs, I don't know, 32,000 tons. I'm guessing. At least 30,000 tons, I would think. So it's got to support its own weight. And if the plates are leaking, it's going to be really in bad shape when it's like, oh, it's like a whale. A whale, whales die because they get washed up on the beach because they freaking crush themselves with their own weight. So, yeah, there's all kinds of footage that have been on Facebook and stuff on there, so. I went on the North Carolina recently, which is significantly newer than the Texas. The Texas, I think, is a 1911 or something like that battleship. Obviously, it's been refurbished for World War II, but the North Carolina was 1938, so significantly newer, and only in one World War. Although the Texas, I don't think was ever fired on. It's not like it took shell hits or anything. I don't think the North Carolina was fired on either. Maybe by planes or something like that, but not in surface combat. Texas was pretty sure it was at Normandy. 27,000 tons? Okay. Yeah, that's a lot of weight for it to be like, I mean, if. So a little lighter than my ex, a little bit. Should do another one of your cooking shows there, Rick. Like, Rick makes spaghetti or, something. Something that'd be funny to see you fail at. Something catastrophic. I was disappointed with the milkshake thing that you didn't have like a milk explosion or something like that. Blenders are weird. Blenders will, they'll start working and they stop. And then you're like, what's going on? Is there a suction problem or? You have to learn how to boil water first. How about using an air fryer? You know what an air fryer? You know how to use an air fryer? Those things are magic, man. That way when you get those McDonald's fries that you get cold, you put them back in there and they're even better than First time around. Pizza, reheating pizza, it's better than the first time around in an air fryer. If you boil water, you don't have to do dishes. Think about it. It's self-cleaning. Now, if you dump something in there, that's different, but hello, Doug. Welcome. It is pretty simple. The only problem with it is that sometimes you have to clean it frequently. It's like a little basket that's like a net, so to speak. And sometimes it'll just get too much. After a while, you have to clean it. It's kind of a pain. You just throw it in the dishwasher though and move on. You know. French fries can't be reheated. You can reheat anything in an air fryer. It's amazing. And pizza's better. I mean, it's good conversations. Oh, yeah. Only one Slim Shady. If we're going to talk about rap, I'm out. I don't know anything. I don't know anything. I know just about as much about bluegrass. No, I don't. Bluegrass is another train wreck. Good conversations. Well, they just happened. It's everybody's help, you know. We're just hanging out on a Thursday. One more day. Not TGIF. TGIF was created by some bastard that worked 410s. Guy never worked on Fridays. Oh, thank goodness it's Friday. Yeah, because you don't have to freaking work on that day, asshole. It's my least favorite day of the week because I'm just worn out by the time I get there. A dragon just killed you. You're only allowed one fatal mistake. You've died lots of times. What's one more? Speaking of dragons and dying, what was the name of that game from the 1980s? Dragon Quest? Dragon's Lair. Talk about a hard freaking game to play when you're 13. Texas was at North Africa. I thought New York was at North Africa. Normandy, Iwo Jima, and Okinawa. Was it North Africa? It wasn't at Casablanca is where it wasn't. Because New York was at Casablanca with Massachusetts bombarding the French ships that were there. Was there two Texases? Well, there was two in the class, yeah. Texas and New York. It was a class of two ships. I used to have a little Texas, a GHQ miniature. The reason I had it was like always one of those, the Germans break out in the Atlantic and they encounter Texas. Time to go take a shower. You didn't do that as soon as you came home? Shame on you. It's the first thing I want to do. I want to get out of my clothes. I want to take a shower. New Jersey was in the Battle of the Philippine Sea, Battle of Leyte Gulf, and supported the Ujima and Okinawa campaigns. Yep, and it's right across the river there from Philly. We got a light color for that one. Let's see if we can get away with this. See what we can get away with. Text is all over the place. Apparently, you can see why they're working on it. Is USS Texas built 1882? Served against Cuba, called a dreadnought rather than battleship. Yeah, there was an earlier one that was really small. Ugly little thing. Actually, I don't know if one of the things that a lot of the U.S. ships had around them just before World War I and during that time is they had those cage masks, which I think are one of the ugliest things ever. Luckily, they ditched those. Some of the ships kept them a little later on, like the Maryland class had them at the beginning of the war on the rear tower, but when they had them at the front and the rear, I just don't think it's very attractive at all. But, hey, I'm a modeler. I'm interested in, what things look like, not necessarily practicality. You guys find that a lot of people aren't interested in naval games? Now I can see why it wouldn't be very interesting because of terrain. You normally don't. You're normally playing like on a. I mean, there's exceptions to the rule, but most of the stuff just happens kind of on an open board, where there's no like, hey, go over there and take that group of woods or something like that. You think it's because of that, or there's some other reason? I always like the ships, so that's not an issue for me. But I do know that a lot of people just aren't interested in it at all. Might it be true? Want to get some ships to do some games? Yeah, you wonder why, or do you know why? I'm thinking it's because there's just no, there's no hills, there's no terrain, or something like that. There was a Star Trek game that I actually had, which is crazy because I like Star Trek about as much as the American Civil War. I probably might like the American Civil War more. And didn't grow up with Star Trek or anything. But it was a really cool game because it was like a naval game. and I don't remember what the hell it's called. I think it's called Empires at War or whatever. Came out like around 2000, and I played it quite a bit. It was kind of glitchy, but it was a fun game. Avalon Hill had a ship game called Jetland, and the Bismarck one. I had it as an adult and never played it. I had it as a kid and was fascinated by it. And then as an adult, I decided to get it and ended up reselling it. Worlds of Warship. Yeah, but World of Warship is just a zoo. Yeah. Miniatures not being popular. What about those? What's the name of that company? Warlord Games that makes their own miniatures in a weird scale that is incompatible with just about everything else. I don't like them because they're on like a flip flop. You know, a ship that big, I wouldn't want on a base. You know, wouldn't know the first place to look for naval miniatures. Yeah, you do. The internet. That's where you find everything. That's the first wargaming I did. Was naval. Because that was the first World War II stuff I was interested in. But you gotta love the ships, or otherwise it's just kind of like, what's the point? Are some of the people that did Warlord, are they related to Games Workshop folks? Are they like ex-Games Workshop people that... Is there a tie-in there for that? I honestly don't know. I'll be right back. Sorry, got way too hungry. Rick Priestley made rules for both companies. Rick Priestley, I know who he is, but Rick Priestley sounds like somebody who would have started like Judas Priest. Just that name, Priestley. I watched an interview with him. He was doing a black powder game, and I'm like, I'm gonna read about this black powder game. And he's on there. I'm like, oh, Rick Priestley, cool. I've heard about him. And I start watching this video, and I'm like, this game is way too basic. There's just not enough different ways to skin a cat. At least from his video. I don't know. Not multifaceted enough for me. Hasbro has controlling shares of Games Workshop. They do? That good, or is Hasbro dirty? Hasbro's dirty. Oh. When these companies become big and controlling everything, like Disney and when's the last time that you hear about companies decide to do a merger and the government said you can't do it? It's usually like, yeah, they went along with it. Like, pretty soon we're going to have one cell phone company. We're all going to get screwed. Wizards of the Coast is owned by Hasbro, huh? I've heard of controversies about Wizards of the Coast, but I honestly don't know what the details are of it. It's some kind of woke shenanigans. All they have is Magic the Gathering. I don't like Magic the Gathering. I don't like that whole buy packs and see what you get crap. That's like gambling. Magic the Gathering and Dungeons and woke SJW superheroes. What are woke superheroes? I should look that up. Captain Planet? Damn it. Is Damn It Man a woke superhero? No, because he gets angry and says, damn it. Can't say too many bad things about Magic the Gathering since it's partially funding my new car. That makes no sense. It may be true, but it doesn't make any sense whatsoever. It means you got some cards that are worth a lot of money. So who pays this kind of money? Are they like, Saudi princes or something? Kids that are involved in the human trafficking to get funds to buy cards from Rick. If I really wanted to play that, I would just play, what's the Blizzard one? Something Stone, whatever it's called. I played it quite a bit. Not quite a bit. I played it a few times. Whatever their one's called. And it's free, I mean, I guess you can buy cards, but no. No. The guy that I know is really into them. It's like, hey, I'll show you how to play. And I played. I'm like, Mr. Dirk, welcome back from playing hooky from work. I'm not going to tell on you. You don't work for Hasbro, do you? Couple $1,000 for a piece of cardboard. Wow. This doesn't make any sense. I've seen people at a store play Magic. The funny thing is, there's always a smell in the store. Coincidence? I don't know. I know, isn't that nuts? It got to the point where just having that card made me anxious. Well, if you're going to sell it, you got to get rid of it before it walks away. Or you realize it's cardboard. The only cards I got are those Gulf War trading cards. Remember those? Those things are still freaking worthless. I'm not gonna have a full set or anything. I do have a full set of the first Pirates of the Spanish Main, though. I made some money on that. Not enough to fund the car, but enough to fund all my paints. That's a great product with shitty ass rules. Those rules are some of the worst rules I've ever seen ever written for a game. What history deletion crap do they do? $12.6 million for a mantle card. Might have to look that up then. I think somebody commented on one of my videos that it might have been on a Historicon video that they noticed that not a lot of American Civil War games, and they were wondering if people weren't playing it because of the whole environment that maybe people would be afraid to game Confederates. I don't think that's the reason at all. That's the reason to game Confederates. Oh, people, you shouldn't be playing troops with that flag. Boy, there you go. All of a sudden, I'm building them. You said I couldn't do it. You can't do this. Well, actually, I had no intention to do that, but now that you told me that I can't do it, that's not only am I going to do that, that's all I'm going to do. It's a game, man. One of the top head honchos said all history of Dungeons and Dragons before the release of 5th edition was not canon anymore. It had no place in a modern game. Who cares? You create your own world as far as I'm concerned. I went to a store, I know you're not on Facebook, but I went to the game store a couple weeks ago to pick up some paint. And they had these compilations of 1st edition Dungeons and Dragons modules, including Keep on the Borderlands and stuff, like a big book. And I flipped through it. I was like, oh, this is really cool. And I don't even do that stuff. Last time I played Dungeons and Dragons, I was 14 or maybe 15, maybe. Actively engage in attacking players of the older Dungeons and Dragons. TSR Games even made some products insulting those people recently. Insult them back. Way to fight fire is a bigger fire. You guys suck. Why? You play the earlier non-canon version of Dungeons and Dragons. Oh yeah? Your mom. A nerd burglar fight. When playing D&D, beware of large women with blue hair and nose rings. Yeah, nobody looks better with a nose ring. A bull does. Yeah, you do whatever you want, but I'm not into that. Do the best you can with what God's given you. There's my preaching for today. I grew up in the 80s, so if you didn't conform, man, you got like an atomic wedgie. You couldn't wear two socks that didn't match. You would get ostracized. You hear there's some people that play WRG 7th. I didn't play any Ancients because nobody played Ancients. You get a lot of views though on YouTube. Just if you have women in your videos. They don't even have to be attractive. I don't think I'll put my daughter in videos though. There's a guy out there. I'm not going to mention who he is because I honestly don't remember what his name is. But he always comes up on my reels, which I hate reels on Facebook because I'm not interested in them and I keep getting regurgitated to me. There's a guy that goes around and all he does these stupid dad jokes, and he never shows up on any of the filming. It's always his daughter, who's I guess like 17 or 18 years old or something like that. She's cute. She's nothing, extraordinary or whatever, and nothing's inappropriate. But it's just obvious that he's baiting his daughter to get views on his thing, and it's like, there's sickos out there, man. You need to protect your family, And yeah, we have fun in our games, and we say some inappropriate stuff, but it's all freaking in joke. You don't put your family out there to get freaking preyed on. Yeah, you got stuffed in a trash can in high school. Reminded me of some movie. What movie was that? That sounds like something off Revenge of the Nerds or something like that. You saw a couple of 7th edition games played last time was at the Reading Club. I was over 200 pounds in high school. Nobody picked on me for being a nerd. What'd they pick on you for being? A man. Men are over 200 pounds. Maybe not in high school. That was weird. That almond tastes like a pistachio. What's going on here? Shock of the nerds. You know, there's a thing called sports nerds. All those people that can't find where to live on a map, but they know how long a turd their favorite running back took last Saturday. Sports nerd. Yeah, not peanuts, almonds. I was snackish and I didn't want to eat like, something that was really bad for me. First of all, we don't really have that stuff at the house. And second of all, it's kind of late, so. At least you're not allergic to them. That would be worse. Because nut stuff's in everything. We encountered somebody on vacation one time. They were eating a salad with like nothing on it. And when we questioned this person, like, what's up with your salad? Like, well, I'm allergic to garlic. And I'm like, oh, you're fucked. Garlic's in everything. You love football, but I don't memorize stats. I like playing football games. Mr. Nettles. You're not a sausage maker, are you? The only reason I'm saying that is there's a sausage place called Nettles Sausage right around the corner. I don't want to know how sausage is made. Hey Joe, now that reminds me of something. You ever been called something that you don't like being called? Like if somebody calls Rick, hey Dick. No, it's Rick, damn it, not Dick. What's up, Kev? I don't mean, not something you've earned. I mean, just, a shorthand version of your name that you don't use. Like, why'd you call me that? Nobody's ever called me that before. Brownell is big name for guns and gun parts. I wish I was related. They got a lot of stuff, but seem to be out of a lot of things. I know I've ordered from them before, but I don't remember what the hell I ordered. Maybe grips or something. We did a big order for magazines several years ago when they thought they were going to do away with those things, but that was from Midway, I think. Also, big guy. Ricky Tikki Tavi. Oh man. Rickleby. Why LB? Is Ricky Tikki Tavi a Kipling thing? I think it is. I bet it is. It's a mongoose, right? Rickelberger. Rickleby. Get your name is spelled a lot. Yeah, you do, I bet. The I and the O on most keyboards are side by side, so I get emails calling me dork. The mongoose, that damn mongoose. It's a Kipling story, isn't it? I think it is. I just finished the audiobook, which wasn't very long, on The Man Who Would Be King, because I want to see the movie. And I've seen the movie 20 years ago, but it's not available for free, and it should be. Movies old as shit should be free. It should be at no additional cost to the other stuff that I'm already paying for, so. Isn't a dork technically a whale penis? Wow. How do you... If people misspell your first name, they're going to have a field day with your last name. Heinsius. There's really no reason to misspell your last name, Dirk, unless they switch the I and the E. We have a convention that we went to. It's our closest convention that's not in Florida. It's, I guess it's technically HMGS Mid-South, and it's called the Siege of Augusta. And all the shirts they had made for this, they had a siege misspelled. So it was literally the Saiga of Augusta. You'd think you'd get that right before you would make all the shirts up. If you're reading or audible, listening Kipling, try Kim. The audible book I got is called The Man Who Would Be King and Other Stories. So I started the next story, which I don't remember what it is. It's not Kim. It is, I don't know what it's called. It's the second one in it. And the Man Who Would Be King is really good because the guy who narrated it does all the accents differently, and they're really good. But I decided I didn't want to listen to that one. I started to, and I got a little bit carried away. So I'm like, let me go listen to I downloaded a book called The Great Game. And it's about 20 years old or whatever, but all about that whole late 1800s period in Afghanistan. And it's an excellent book. Highness. You get Highness a lot. Yeah, it's Mid-South. Yeah, you go to that one, Eric? Yeah, and other stories. I honestly don't know what's in it. Hell, why don't I take a look and see what's on it? It's on my phone, but let's see. We're going to go to Audible. Audible. Library. Don't ask me to sign in. Okay, what are the stories here? It's 9 hours and 35 minutes, and the first story was only like an hour and a half. Okay. Man Who Would Be King also includes the story The Phantom Rickshaw, The Strange Ride of Marrowby Jukes, The Mark of the Beast, okay, and many more. Well, what's the many more? I'm downloading the accompanying reference guide, which you can't do on your phone. Didn't like to do that for whatever reason. What do we got here? Man Who Would Be King, Phantom Rickshaw, which is the one I'm starting right now. My Own True Ghost Story, Strange Ride of Marrowby Jukes, Mark of the Beast, Without Benefit of Clergy, Sending of Dana Da, Wee Willie Winky. Isn't that a movie? And, you know, I don't mean an adult movie. On the City Wall, Education of Otis Uri, The Judgment of Dungara, Baba Black Sheep, The Second Bag, The Third Bag. Huh. That's what it has. No Kim. Kim is a separate one. Okay. Yeah, Kim supposedly I've heard is where that Great Game reference comes from. So, yeah, I'm not going to read an actual book about that. I wouldn't get to it. I just get distracted too easy. You used to do all the art for the shirts too. Oh, you're not the one responsible for the spelling, are you? Oops. I have one shirt from it. It's a cool shirt, but it's the Saiga of Augusta. You like that movie? No, you didn't do the spelling. Okay, good. I'm generally a really good speller because I like to read a lot. Yeah, I'm still going. Did you get that smell off of you, Joe? If you didn't, get back in the shower. I don't like what Historicon's doing with all their t-shirts now. They're just too complicated. They just take basically Osprey art and put it on their shirt. It's just too... I'm a big fan of it. A t-shirt should have a small logo here and then the big logo on the back. Not like you're walking around with a bulletin board on your front. I don't know. Nobody asked me. Don't ask me what my opinion is. I might just tell you. Too many people on Monday. Oh, it's good. Oh, too many people on Monday. Oh, I know what you're saying. No, what happened is that I needed to edit the video, and it took me a whole week to do it. It's a really... The video's not that long. The file is just really big, and I think it's because it's too noisy. So I don't want to hear any complaints about, hey, there's too much AC sound going on, Addy. It was barely tolerable, temperature-wise, if you ask me. and the ACs, for whatever reason, picks them up. The phone picks up the AC sounds a lot. So right now, the stage that we're in is that YouTube has it. It's being processed, and it may be processed. I'm actually not going to mess with it until tomorrow morning. If it's done processing, I'll let everybody know it's up there. Have I tried Art de la Guerre yet? I bought it, but have not played it yet. I have not, and it's I don't want to poo-poo it, but there's several reasons why I don't want to try it. The biggest one is nobody in my area plays it, so you know. I don't want to play another Ancients game where I have to line up the troops perfectly for them to fight each other. It's an artificial component that makes it makes it play awkward, in my opinion. Now, I've watched a couple of videos of Art de la Guerre. There's a lot of things that it does that I think are pretty cool, in the way skirmishers in particular behave. You know, it just seems like a lot of this stuff has just been plagiarized, and I don't have a problem with it as long as you give credit to the person who did it, and it isn't, and it's not the only rule set to do things like that. It wouldn't be a reason for me not to play it, but it doesn't solve the biggest issue that I have with ancient rules, and that's the conforming business. I think the conforming just makes it feel really artificial. So I'm not going to play another Ancients rule set that has the conforming thing again. And by conforming, I mean is that units have to fight. They have to fight like this. They can't fight like this. They can't fight like this. You know, I'm not asking for really weird things, but you know, you got these guys, they move into combat, and that's as far as they can reach. They should be able to fight like that. Armati does it. You know, I'm not saying I'm going to go play Armati, but so, and I want to play something that's the next thing is just got to be, it's got to be easier to teach to new people. It just has to be easier to teach to new people. You know, not feeling well. Oh man. Well, how's the job hunt thing going? Any progress on that? Armati was not a bad set of rules. That's what I showed up to play back in 2004. And when the guy told me, hey, where are all the Armati players that you said would be here? I said, I don't know, none of them showed up. Apparently they got miffed with the author or something. And they packed up and went home. And Marty just happened to be running DBA there. And it was even less troops than I needed. And, well, the rest is history. But I actually went to play Armati. I don't know that I would have liked Armati better. There's things about it that I like. There's things about it that I don't like. I don't like the hidden deployment and the, hey, why don't you leave the room or put the screen up, and these guys just need to move from here over that, and they can't because they only wheel a tiny little amount. It's too restrained, and it's and other things. So WRT counted numbers of figures in contact. Interesting. Yeah, never played it. I wasn't opposed to it, just never played it. I am hooked on the length of the DBA game. I am hooked into the, make a game that's an hour, hour and a half at the most. Not because I don't have the attention span, but so I can play other opponents. Art de la Guerre was the one game that they had a lot of people playing in tournaments at Historicon, but I'm not a tournament player. I just want to play with my figures that I created. If it's not a tournament, I don't have to keep score. And if I don't have to keep score, I can help my opponent win and try to beat me because I want to create a fun narrative. That's what I've really enjoyed lately is really cool, insane things happening, even if they're to me. It's cool. You love hex and counter war games. You don't have to deal with any of that nonsense. Well, but then they still feel artificial. I don't know. Not worried about that right now. I'm just plugging away, painting shit. Speaking of painting shit, we don't have that much more left to do on this, dude. I wish there was more hex and counter war games on computer. So then I could learn how to play them by clicking on shit. You got to have some basic understanding. You're only going to get that by starting clicking on shit and like, oh, that didn't work. Oh, I guess I didn't win, But I know there's one game that I was really impressed with when I first saw it. I never played it before. And the guy that taught me the game, I went and beat the shit out of him. Because, I wasn't new to war games. It was a game called V for Victory in the early 90s. And they had different campaigns and stuff for it. And it's basically a counter game with hexes. But it had a very revolutionary for its time supply system that I think worked really well. And, it had a traditional looking board with traditional looking counters. Yeah, I don't think you need to, as long as you're motivated to paint figures, it doesn't matter if you use them in battle or you just, they're like it's like building model figures and sometimes using them and sometimes not. As long as you're keep building them. Well, I think I'm going to call it a night. We've been on here, almost 3.5 hours. And it is getting to be almost 10:30, and I do have to work tomorrow. So you did that with Tobruk, with the owner of the old game store. He thought I knew nothing about tactics on the first turn. I exploited his mistake and took Tobruk with ease. You tried out the La Guerre, but didn't like the lack of recoil. Like to see the ebb and flow of the battle line. Interesting. Yeah, that's right. There's no recoils in that. I would like to see non-forced lineup combat, recoils, and hits. And I don't think it's too much to ask. We've played some games with that stuff on it, and it works really well. It's just not my focus on it right now. And, it's nothing I'm going to sell. But, maybe 10 years from now or something like that, Yeah, it looks better in person. It doesn't really do it justice. It honestly looks like shit on screen. But I'll wake up in the morning, look at him, and holy shit, this guy's going to look awesome. Might fight like a sissy. Well, that is why I gave him a little pink towel the guy's sitting on. So, fatigue, I call it, what is it that I call it? Disruption? I think I call it disruption. So, yeah, anyhow. Okay, until next time, folks. See you later. Thanks for coming by, as always. And, hey, maybe definitely this weekend.